President Trump is suggesting Republicans should seize more control over the country's elections as he once again falsely claims he won the 2020 presidential race. Here's what he said on former FBI Deputy Director Dan Bongino's podcast.
Republicans should say, we want to take over. We should take over the voting in at least 15 places. The Republicans ought to nationalize the voting. And we have states that are so crooked, and they're counting votes.
The president was asked about this in the Oval Office, where he appeared to double down.
I want to see elections be honest. And if a state can't run an election, I think the people behind me should do something about it. Because, you know, if you think about it, a state is an agent for the federal government in elections. The federal government should get involved.
CBS News senior White House correspondent Weijia Jiang joins us. Weijia, this was after that unprecedented seizure of 2020 election records from Fulton County, Georgia. And you asked White House Press Secretary Karoline Leavitt about this. What did she say?
Well, Lindsay, that is because there is still a big open question about exactly what federalizing elections would look like. Now, I should say when I asked Karoline Leavitt about this earlier today, it was before the president himself talked about it, but she did offer more details about what he possibly meant when he was talking about this. Take a listen. What does President Trump mean when he says Republicans ought to nationalize voting? What does that look like in practice?
What the president was referring to is the SAVE Act, which is a huge common sense piece of legislation that Republicans have supported, that President Trump is committed to signing into law during his term. And he spoke with the speaker directly about that yesterday, about the need to get that bill on the floor for a vote, because it provides very common sense measures for voting in our country, such as voter ID. I don't think any rational person who's being honest with themselves would disagree with the idea of requiring citizens of this country to present an ID before casting a ballot in a federal election, or frankly in any election.
So Leavitt was talking about the SAVE Act, which is a federal bill up on Capitol Hill that, to be clear, has not been passed yet, but it would require voters to provide proof of U.S. citizenship instead of just a driver's license as an ID, as an example. But Democrats are fiercely pushing back, saying that that would really make the process cumbersome and that it intends to keep people from voting. What's interesting is that when President Trump was asked about it, he did not mention this piece of legislation, Lindsay.
President Trump was also asked today about Jeffrey Epstein and said, like affordability, it's a Democrat problem. What does he mean by that?
Well, he said that there were many Democrats who were named in the Epstein files. He said he himself was completely cleared and that Republicans need to focus on moving on from this. But again, he pointed out that there are many Democrats who are listed as communicating with Epstein, and that's what I believe he meant by that. But of course, Lindsay, there are many, many people listed in these files from both parties.
Weijia Jiang, thank you.